All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. You want to do the introduction?
Yeah. So as you guys know, Krystal and Dedric Polite here. But if you've been following us all month, you know this month is Kidpreneur Month. So back to school, I definitely, if you know anything about me, I'm really, really big on kid entrepreneurship. I was a kidpreneur growing up, and we have 2 sons that are also kidpreneurs. And that's also a question we get a lot about, kidpreneurship. But one of the biggest questions people ask is how to get your kid into your business, how to pay your children from your business. And this is a question we've gotten for the last maybe 2 years straight. So whenever anyone knows that our kids also work with us and then they have their own businesses, they say, hey, how do I get them into my business? And I remember when we were starting with our kids, no one could tell us how to do this. I mean, literally, we asked probably about a dozen different people.
That's all to me.
I hadn't found you yet. And people would be like, oh, it was real cookie cutter responses,
vague.
Like real vague. Oh, yeah. All you got to do is set them up in your business. That was it. That basic response, but no how or follow up to how to do it. So I had found Falisha online because it's such a question that we get asked so much. I said, I need someone who's an expert, and this is what they actually do. And I came across you. I downloaded your ebook, which had a ton of great information in it. And I'm like, okay, this sister definitely knows what she's talking about. So I said I had to bring her on to our platform because we actually have a lot of people in our Facebook group who have kids who are in entrepreneurship as well. So we definitely wanted to bring you on to really shed some light on a subject matter that a lot of people know little about, especially how to do it legally. Now, people are doing it, but people ain't doing it legally so that it benefits them. So we have Falisha Ball from Maryland, right?
Yes.
Be more.
And Falisha her background, she's an accountant. She's also a tax strategist. So as you guys get deeper into business entrepreneurship, one thing we learned is that it's not how much money you make, it's how much you keep. And having a qualified accountant or tax strategist on your team is critical. So we're looking forward to hearing, first of all, how we employ our kids, how we do that, what the logistics are, but also some other tax strategies as business owners. So with that, we'll hand it over to Ms. Falisha Ball.
Okay. So hi, everyone. Let's talk about hiring our kids in our business and talk about kidpreneurship. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Falisha. I'm an accountant of 20 years. I'm tax strategist that's real heavy on educating when it comes to the financial understanding of business. And so let's jump right in. So it looks like my slides are all over the place, but it's okay because let me see. So we already talked about who I am. We ultimately want to do for our children early what we learned late to do. We have responsibility with information as parents, grandparents, aunties, and uncles. This applies to you too. It applies to all of us as adults. We have a responsibility with information. We have to share our experiences with the kids, the generations that's coming behind us. Sharing our experiences, it teaches the kids in our lives. It teaches them and gives them important life skills like problem solving, communication, money management, and a stronger appreciation for money in a sense of entrepreneurship. With the craziness of, what's going on this year, kids learning virtually while you're also running your business, now is the perfect time to start to implement this game-changing strategy these game changer strategies of kidpreneurship and hiring your kids in your business, which hiring your kids in your business, it also teaches them valuable lessons for being kidpreneurs too. The real game changer though is making it like a rite of passage where every child, all of your children or every child in your family, they learn how to start a business as early as the age of 8, the age of 12. Whenever, you know, you feel like it's appropriate, it's an appropriate age where, you know, you can kind of like keep their attention when it comes to entrepreneur, you know, teaching them about entrepreneurship, but not even just about entrepreneurship. Financial lessons as well too, because, you know, the money management part that helps with the financial management piece of it. So let's talk about hiring your kids in your business. It helps to build generational wealth for them. And generational wealth is a hot trending topic right now. But when it comes to generational wealth, there is 3 continuous systems that goes with that, you know, earning money, keeping money, multiplying money, and being able to invest. And we must make sure that our kids are taught all 3 parts of this system, which hiring them in your business gives them ability to do that, for them to learn all. You know, you can't teach your kids how to earn money and they don't know how to keep the money invested, or you can't tell your kids how to invest in something and they don't even know how to keep the money or earn it to invest. Let's see. See, when you hire your kids in your business, they are earning income, earning wages, meaning that they get to keep some money in their pocket. By doing that, you also, it enables you to be able to show them how to save a percentage of their income. You know, of course, you want to teach them how it's done, especially for like short-term goals. And then they also get to learn how to invest their earnings to build wealth, which one of the ways that I like to recommend doing this is by them putting some of their money in a Roth IRA. And then some of the other benefits of hiring your children in your business, it has both financial and non-financial benefits to it. And some of those additional benefits are, of course, naturally, you get to deduct their pay on your tax return. And, you know, with you doing that saves you thousands of dollars in taxes. You also pay, you know, you hear a lot. I don't know if some of you saw that meme that was floating around online where it talked about you don't pay any federal taxes. Well, yeah and no. It's certain federal taxes that you don't pay. And those taxes are, you pay 0 Social Security tax, 0 Medicare tax, and 0 unemployment taxes. It is the potential for you to pay 0 withholding tax depending on how much you pay them in the business. And that is based on if you're paying them at the standard deduction or under the standard deduction, which right now, currently, the standard deduction is at $12,400 for this year. But then, you know, other things come into play if you're doing investments and things like that for your child, if you have them investing in stocks, because then you got to worry about the kiddie tax. Then another benefit is that they get a financial understanding and, you know, the value of a dollar. Financial understanding and the value of a dollar. You know how they're like, Mommy, Daddy, can we stop at Chick-fil-A? Can we stop at McDonald's? And you're like, okay, well, you can use your money that you earned from your pay. And they're like, oh, you know what? Now all of a sudden they understand we have food at home because they don't want to spend their money. They don't want to eat their money. They don't want to spend their money. So now all of a sudden, you know, they understand. And then, you know, like I say, it saves you thousands in tax income. Then another thing too, another benefit of this is that you no longer have to pay for those extra things like the extracurricular activities like sports, music lessons, if they want to do dance lessons, singing lessons, cell phone, the cell phone or the cell phone bill, haircut, hairdos, those game cards that they use, and the list goes on and on. Because it's nowhere written in the tax law or in the government where it says that you have to provide these extracurricular activities for them. They can even, use the money to pay for vacation when you go on vacation. Now, no, they can't pay you rent, because that's your responsibility. As a parent, with them being a minor, you have to provide shelter for them. So there are a few things that they cannot use the money for. But think about it this way, because if they're spending the money on those extracurricular activities, which you were going to pay for anyway after taxes, now with you putting them on payroll, it's as if you are hypothetically being able to write those extracurricular activity expenses off, because they're now paying for it with the money that they're earning. So it puts more money back into your household. Honestly, it really does. Then they also gain a marketable skills and qualifications as an apprentice. So you may hear a lot. I mean, unless one of the jobs that you can, the position or task that you can hire them for in the business, you can have them to come and help clean the office, take the trash out at your office. But why do that? Teach them what you are doing in your business. Teach them, for me, like with my children, for my children, one of the things that my children would help me with is they would help me with basic bookkeeping. They would basically enter the data in for me. So they have a basic bookkeeping knowledge. So if you are a social media manager or something, teach them how to do that. So don't just give them, like the remedial type tasks to do in a business. Give them something that they can have in their back pocket and carry on with them into adulthood. And then, of course, it introduces them to entrepreneurship. It piques their interest to get them in business for themselves. So, why hiring your child is lucrative and a must for building wealth for them. Again, it boosts your profits, again, because, you're not taking your after-tax money and paying for extracurricular activities and things like that. So it boosts your profits, it lowers your overall tax liability, and it puts money back in your house, which is, and this is actually a tax strategy. Hiring your kids is simply a tax strategy. It's not only legal, because I get a lot of people, oftentimes they'll say, is this legal? Or, another thing is, oh, this is just something for the rich. No, it's not. It is not. It's just that the rich may have known about it longer than we have. So they've been using this strategy longer than us. But it's not only legal, it's encouraged. When they rewrote the tax, tax reform in 2018, they actually increased the amount that you could actually pay your child in your business, encouraging you to hire them. So it's actually encouraged. So it's not only legal, it's actually encouraged. So like I say, it's a tax strategy, and that tax strategy is called income shifting, where you are essentially moving money around from yourself, reducing your taxable income, which means you end up paying less income. So you're in a higher tax bracket than your children would be with just the income that they're earning from you within a business. Now, of course, if they have some other income coming in, that's going to play a factor into everything. But essentially, it's a tax strategy. Hiring your kids is a tax strategy, and that tax strategy is called income shifting. So let's talk about it being a must for building wealth for them. It gives them a limitless future. It starts them investing early. And it also, creates a legacy, which is more than just money. Remember at the beginning, I said, let's look at it from the standpoint. Legacy is you're instilling that knowledge and wisdom needed to build wealth, needed for them to be able to carry that information on for generation to generation. And they can build wealth over and over and over again, just transcending along for generations to come. Now, I'm going to give you a scenario here, a CEO scenario, and break this down to you how it really works with building wealth. So let's just say you hired your child at the age of 4 in your business. Their annual salary is $5,500. Your child decides, after you kind of like sit and, explain to them, teach them some things, they then decide that they will invest all of their earnings into a Roth IRA. And their tax bracket is 0%. In 14 years, with contributing $5,500 per year, which right now is the maximum amount that they're able to put into a Roth IRA. Well, that goes for anyone, $5,500, unless you're over a certain age, you can put in an extra $1,000. But for their age, they can put in a maximum of $5,500 per year, and investing to earn about 7%, per annum, which has been the average going over the years. So your child will have $132,710 by their 18th birthday. At 21, the child will have $181,495 in the Roth IRA. Now, with doing that, the child will have the ability to withdraw all of the money that they put in. So all that $5,500 that they put in every year, they would be able to withdraw that money without penalty. So that means that the child would be able to take out $93,500 at 21. And they can invest in real estate, start a dream business, or they can do some ratchet things if the child wants to act silly. But, at the age of 21. But I know they're not going to do that because, you all are going to teach them the lessons that they need to know to come along with that responsibility of that money. And another thing that I like about the Roth IRA, and here's a breakdown of how that works. So you see at the age of 18 to the left, they would have $132,710, and then to the right at 21, they would have $181,495. And then you see the total amount that total contributions, $77,000 and $93,500. So those amounts right there, they could take out the total contributions amount. They could take out without being penalized, meaning that they don't have to be that 59 and a half age requirement. They could take the money out and kind of like do what they want to do. If they want to go to, pay for college, if they want to buy a car, if they want to buy a house, they can do what they want to do with that money. And then another thing that I like about the Roth IRA is that it doesn't count against them for college. If that's their thing. Because, when you apply for college, they kind of look, when you're filling out, the financial needs base, it doesn't count against them if they have a Roth IRA. Unlike if they had money in a savings account. If they had money in a savings account, that money would actually count against them. So here is a frequent question that I'm asked when it comes to hiring your kids in your business. Is there a minimum age? And I'm just a disclaimer, the baby to the right is actually my granddaughter. She was 1 month old on this picture. So the answer to that question is no. Tax law has no minimum age. It's about their capabilities and the position that you can create for them. But of course, you have to look at the state laws and see what the labor laws are in your state. And you have to essentially go with whichever law is more stricter. So if the federal law is more strict or the state law is more stricter, you have to go with that law when it comes to hiring your child or your grandchild in your business. So just to give you some examples before I jump into the kidpreneur side, some examples of the positions that I've actually hired my children in, which, you know, I shared earlier, basic bookkeeping skills, customer contact. They've distributed business flyers. You know, when I started my business, I actually only started a tax practice before I decided to start a full-fledged accountant. So my sons were my street team. Then, of course, you know, actor, model, and social media posts, videos, assistant at my office or on photo and video shoots. So now let's talk about kidpreneurs and kids going CEO. I don't know if you all looked at my IG handle at the bottom of my slide on my social media handle is She's Going CEO. Well, we're going to talk about kids going CEO. And again, this is the best time to fit in a lesson on business skills and entrepreneurship in your kids' curriculum. So, after all, you know, kids, they know what doctors, teachers, and nurses do. Why not entrepreneurs? Teaching them what they need to know about the importance, the rewards, and the basic principles of entrepreneurship. That's goals. That is really goals. So we need to teach them like what an entrepreneur does, how a small business works, good money management in business. Now, what we don't want to do and what doesn't work when it comes to getting kids involved in becoming a kidpreneur, we don't want to kind of like tell them what to do or force them, you know, to do something that maybe they aren't interested in. Allow them to come up with the business idea. Then, you know, you want to like let them come up with the business idea, choosing the business to start. This allows them to be more vested, more interested, and, you know, maybe even more passionate about the business when it comes to the business idea. Of course, you know, you're going to give them some guidance and help them brainstorm and come up with some ideas. And some of the things that you can sit with them and help them to brainstorm is, you know, what kind of things do they like to do? What do they know how to do? What skills and talents do they have that maybe they can make some money off of? Or, you know, do they tutor in school? Are they creative? Are they good with computers? Like, what I had one client, you know, her son is helping her build her website because that's his thing. He likes to do that. You know, so just kind of like go through with them, do some brainstorming and help them list out some different things, you know, different businesses that they can start. But don't stop there. Don't stop there. Introduce, you know, your kidpreneur to the basic business principles, strategy, marketing, networking, finances. They need to know what it takes to become an entrepreneur. They need to know what it takes to be the shot caller. Okay. Me and some of my other business, my business besties, we have a running joke, you know, CEOs at midnight. We're oftentimes texting each other 3 a.m, 2 a.m, like, girlfriend, hey, I know you're out working. So let them know, like, actually what comes with being the shot caller. So now, you know, once they go through and they list out their ideas, let them, you know, write down their top 3 choices and kind of like create a list of what would they need to start these businesses, what supplies would they need, what ingredients or parts would they need to get each of these businesses started. And by doing this, they will actually get to add up and calculate the cost of what they need to get the business started, you know, like how much they need for startup costs. So take them through the whole process of adding it up. how much money would they need to get started for advertising and marketing. It just walk them through the whole entire process. Is if you're teaching them the lesson. So walk them through the whole entire process. How will they sell their products? Just let them go through the whole process, and then help them to create like a business plan. Once they decide which one of the business ideas they really want to go with after they've counted the cost, help them create their business plan. What is their business? What are the startup costs? Advertising, how they're going to get the word out? What do they do? What do they sell? Who are their customers? What are their business rules? Meaning, like, what are their hours? Or do they only sell online? What are their prices going to be? And you list out the things that they need to get done to get this business started. And, then, you want to sit with them and help them with the pricing. They need to understand that how profits work in a business. So let's just say they purchase a box of candy from one of the big box stores or whatever. The box costs $20. It's 20 bars, and help them with this simple math. They may say, okay, I want to sell it for $1, but then you're going to have zero profit. Help them to calculate the right price so they have some cash left over, and it gives them a decent profit. Help them to understand like what profits mean in a business and why they want to be profitable in the business. Because making money is like half the battle for us. Having more money in your bank account requires an understanding and managing the money that they have already earned. So you want to definitely help them understand that. And that is, like I said, it's all a part of money management. Now, another big part about being a kidpreneur, once they have they are profitable kidpreneurs, teach them about giving back. So they're able to have an impact on their community. When they, of course, like I said, when they're making enough money, they can give donations when needed, putting money behind the causes that they support and believe in. And it can also make their voices count by using their voice to advocate for change. I think that was my last slide. Does anyone have any questions for me? And then, some of the frequent asked questions, another one of the questions that I get about hiring your kids in your business is, do they have to fill out a W-4? Do they have to fill out a W-4? Yes, your child has to complete the same paperwork as any other employee would for hiring any other employee. They have to fill out that same paperwork.
And Falisha, also, they also have to have their own bank account, correct?
Absolutely. They definitely have to have their own bank account so that when you are paying them, it's best to set up so that they are getting paid via direct deposit and it's going directly into their bank account. Because, of course, you don't want to look sketchy to the IRS. So you want to definitely you don't want to make it look like, okay, I'm hiring my kids, but then I'm taking the money and I'm going on vacation. No. No, that's not what that you're actually paying them, and they're actually doing the work in your business. They're actually performing the work in your business. You have to also keep a timesheet for them, logging the time that they're working. So yes.
Falisha, can you talk a little bit more about that as far as the timesheet, how you log it? Is there a software you use, and kind of how you document what they're doing in the business?
Yes, you can either use a manual log. You can use a software to use it. You can use a payroll software, depending on what software you use. You can use that, or you can simply use like a time management software to track that. Something like oh my gosh, I just drew blank on the day on time management. But you can use a time management software or app for them.
So what about T-sheets for timesheets?
Yeah. exactly. You got it. T-sheets, yes.
And what are some examples? Give us some examples that you or some of your clients have used as far as what their kids have actually done for their business and what they paid them for.
Okay, sure. Actually, you can go. I have a whole download sheet that gives you like over 40 position and tasks that your children can do in your business. You can go download that if you haven't already at bit.ly hiring your child. And some of the tasks that I myself and entrepreneurs, my clients have hired their children for. I gave a couple of what I've hired my children for doing a presentation, but some things that my clients have hired their children for, is to create websites for them, to manage their social media for them, even to respond to emails. Some other things that they have hired them for is to give refreshments to clients when they come in, to set up client packets, to maybe ask the clients like basic interview questions when they're bringing them in, answer like some intake questions for the new clients. Also, I have a lot of truckers. I have truckers that have, taken their kids out with them and on deliveries, teaching them about the trucking business. So yeah, those are the things that come top of mind right now. But there are so many other things that you can hire your kids for.
Awesome. Guys, make sure you put your questions in the chat. Lillian has a question. She says, do you recommend children to be employees or create their own LLC?
Now, it depends. If your child is interested in becoming an entrepreneur, then yes, create an LLC for them. But if you're looking to hire them in your business, you want to make them an employee.
Now imagine you're making them a 1099 employee and not like a W-2?
No, you have to make them a W-2 employee. Because because with 1099s, here's the thing, 1099s, they're considered contractors. And as contractors, you set your own schedule. You may be being hired to do a certain task, but essentially as a contractor, you're not being told what time you have to perform this task or how this task has to be performed. So whereas with the children, you're giving them the instructions, you're giving them the instructions, you're telling them what time that they have to be to work in their hours.
Gotcha. Okay. So to be clear, they should be a W-2 employee on payroll, not a 10.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to issue them a W-2 at the end, in January of the next year.
Okay, great. So Edward has a question. He says, with the Roth IRA, he said the investment into Roth comes out of the $12,400. I guess that's the annual. And also, is there a minimum wage?
Yes. So the $5,500, because the Roth is actually, you can only contribute to a Roth IRA if you have earned income. So that $12,400 is essentially part of their earned income. So it has to be deducted from those earned income. And then as far as, is there a minimum wage? Of course, you have to follow what the minimum wage rules are in your state. But if, let's say, your minimum wage rate is $7.50 an hour, $10 an hour in your state. If a position that you're hiring them for, let's say, for instance, hiring them for doing basic bookkeeping. In my area, something like that, they can earn $12, $15 an hour. So you can pay them the same as you would pay anyone else that you would hire. The rate that you would pay anyone else if you hired them. We have any other questions?
Did you see you answered the one about the maximum wage?
The minimum wage, yes.
Well, no, he asked the maximum wage. Is there a maximum you can pay them?
Oh, wait a minute. What I said, the minimum wage? Oh, the maximum. I'm sorry. Okay, the maximum. I didn't see that. Okay, so he said, sorry, meant maximum wage. So the maximum wage, of course, you can't pay them too much money. So like an example that I just gave, with the average wage being 12 to 15 hours, let's say, you can't say, well, it's my child, I want to pay them $20 and I want to pay them $50 an hour. No, you have essentially, when you're trying to figure out what wage to pay them, I would suggest going to something like salary.com, or a site similar to that, and kind of seeing what is, what is the wage rate or the salary range for the position that you're hiring your child for.
Got it. Okay.
So what is the kiddie tax that you spoke about?
Okay, so the kiddie tax essentially is if you purchase stocks, stocks for them, if your child, which is considered to be unearned income. So if you if they receive anything over $2,200, that income is subject to the kiddie tax. With the kiddie tax, that's like income from investments, like dividends, capital gains, savings, because you get dividends and interest from savings, along with other forms of unearned income. And when it comes to this kiddie tax, that is actually taxed at the parent's highest tax rate.
Got it. Okay. Guys, any other questions? If you have any other questions, make sure you put it in the chat. This is great. So Falisha, you mentioned earlier, a lot of us get into business and, many of us don't have banking, accounting or bookkeeping backgrounds. And sometimes we want to, pile up as many expenses as possible and show as little profit or money in the bank as possible. Sometimes that's not the right thing to do. What's your philosophy on, actually turning a profit in your business and setting things up the right way?
Absolutely, Dedric, you're absolutely correct. Oftentimes people tend to say, you know what, I don't want to pay any taxes. I'm writing everything under the sun off. And then they are in for a rude awakening when they may go and try to apply to purchase a home. And the income isn't sufficient enough to support them purchasing a home. So that is kind of like when they're like, okay, well, now I have to build up, make sure that I am filing my taxes in a way that truly displays what my income is in my business, so that I'm able to qualify. So you definitely want to make sure that you are writing off, let me say this. It's best and a great idea if you work with a professional that understands your situation and can guide you with the best possible way. Because one of the things that I always ask, especially if it's an annual client where they only come to me to have their taxes prepared, one of the things that we'll sit and we'll talk about is, do you have any, plans to purchase, make any major purchases, whether that's in their personal life or their business life. So you definitely want to, outside of even sitting with your tax professional or your accountant once per year when you're just getting your taxes prepared, you need to sit with an accountant such as myself before the year is out. So like right now, we are approaching the end of the year, because once January 1st comes, it's nothing that I can do to go back and change history.
Got it. Yeah, that's some important information, guys. When you're planning for your taxes, like Falisha said, you plan now, right before the end of the year, because like she said, once January hits, you can't go and change what you set up for 2020.
Right. Falisha, I have a question. Who did you go through to set up the Roth IRAs for your children?
You can go through any of the brokerage houses. I actually use Fidelity. You can go through any other brokerage houses.
Okay, but you use Fidelity yourself? Would
Yes.
you recommend them?
Well, let me just say this.
Doesn't sound like
I kind of went with Fidelity because that was the one that they offered with the payroll system that I was using. So that's kind of like why I went with them.
Gotcha. Let me ask you this question. You know, a lot of us, again, when we get our taxes done, some people just talk to their accountant once a year when it's time to get the taxes done. We know that's not what you want to do. You want to be meeting with your accountant or your bookkeeper either monthly or quarterly, because again, that's the essence of business. It's not just making money, but again, it's planning your taxes, strategizing so you keep more of it in your pocket. How does someone go about choosing an accountant or someone to do a tax strategist, right? What are some things people should look for when choosing someone to handle their taxes and their books?
You want to make sure it's someone that understands your business, especially if you're an online business, because online business is kind of different than a brick and mortar business, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So you definitely want to make sure it's someone that understands the industry that you're in, what you do, they're familiar. You also want to make sure, which I think is very important, that it's going to be someone that educates you, not just, take your stuff and say, okay, here you go, it's all done. You want to essentially understand, like what they actually did. Let's say on your tax return, you want to understand that if they're doing your bookkeeping and your accounting, you want to understand how to read those financial reports. You want to understand how to make sure that the money is moving correctly in your business.
Excellent. Well, guys, this is all powerful information. Does anyone have any final questions? If not, Falisha, if someone wanted to hire you or to take advantage of some of your services, how would they hire you? How would they get in touch with you?
So they can I'm actually going to drop a link where I offer a free 20-minute consult for first-time clients. So if you want to talk to me about hiring your kids, taxes, bookkeeping, whatever, as it relates to the finances in your business, you can go to bit.ly/book-Falisha and schedule a free 20-minute consult.
All right, we love it. So they just go to that link and they can book a consult with you.
Yes.
Excellent.
And you guys can find her on social media on She's Gone CEO as well. Make sure you guys go and follow her. She's always dropping a really good amount of content. Very, very helpful as well.
Excellent. So we appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Falisha.
And
thank you. I hope the audio panned out.
Oh, yeah, we got it together.
Once we got you on the phone,
right.
It's crystal clear.
This is perfect.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Have a good Sunday.